It's the 411
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the 411 podcast. I am Pat Daly. Welcome back to the virtual studio. To my left, Mr. Michael Quattromani.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
And the lonely Mr. Will Casey.
Great to be back.
Boys, how we feeling today? NFC Wild Card. How we doing?
All right. The AFC had me a little bit more excited.
Damn.
But hey, football's football, and it's not over yet. So
Good stuff.
I'm hyped. I mean, I disagree with Will. First disagreement of the podcast. I disagree. NFC's got me more hyped. They got my Super Bowl winners in it. I'm excited.
all right. There will be more blowouts in the NFC.
Here's the deal.
We'll have to see.
Here's the deal. I have 4 words to say, and they haven't been said in a while, and I feel like I should. I got the energy. We got the energy today. Let's go. I am so ready for a little playoff football. Let's hop right into it. I'm done to wait. Let's hop right in. So first up, we got the game that's on everybody's mind. All these games are on everybody's mind. Saints Bears, the team that a lot of people think shouldn't be in the playoffs whatsoever. In the Bears, high-powered Saints, they have home field advantage. Next up is going to be Seahawks Rams. A little bit more of a contested game, I think. This is definitely going to be a closer wild card round than most. Seahawks have the home game there. And to finish it off, Tommy Terrific has a chance to go after his 7th Super Bowl win. He goes up against the winner of the AFC least, Washington football team. Home field advantage goes to the Washington football team. I can't believe that. Let's get right into it. Let's start off with Saints Bears. Will, start us off.
When I said that the AFC, or actually the NFL football, was predictable, I don't think I saw the NFC yet. The matchups in the NFC for me are just so night and day, especially this Saints-Bears game. The Saints, quarterbacked by Drew Brees, with the best running back in the league, that's just enough said. The Bears are just not there. You're not beating the first round.
I think the Saints will win. At the end of the day, not going to be crazy. All right, I'm already crazy enough saying the Bucs are going to win the Super Bowl, but I'm not going to be crazy and say the Bears are going to win this game. But don't sit here and say the Saints are just going to run away with this thing. I mean, the Bears are. They have.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I am sitting right here, and I'm telling you that the Saints are going to run away with this game.
I second that completely.
No.
The Saints are going to absolutely run away with this game.
They're not. Chicago was a top 10 defense in the NFL, and they have the 5th ranked offense over the last 4 weeks.
Well, you know, Mr. TikTok, you ranked. I remember on your TikTok, you ranked your playoff teams quite low. You put the Bears somewhere at what, like 12 or 11, I believe, or maybe.
Yeah, I put them relatively low, but I still don't think that this like. Here's the thing, though. It's the NFL. Like, there aren't going to be blowouts every single week. I think for the playoffs, this is going to be a close game. There aren't blowouts in the playoffs.
My reasoning, and I say this almost every episode, is in the playoffs, both teams want it the same amount. So it comes down to skill and skill alone, and then coaching, I guess. And the Saints' skill is just
clearly
so far.
Clearly. I just wouldn't be surprised. The Bears usually show up in the playoffs. Like
Mike. Oh yeah, dude, that Cody Parkey, he showed up.
Yes, but that was they lost to the eventual Super Bowl winners.
I'm just saying that happened 2 years ago yesterday.
I know. I saw that. I was just going to say that.
But hey, the great Bill Parcells once said, all you got to do is get in the tournament. That's it. Get into the dance, and you can make a Super Bowl run. You take the Washington football team. Imagine if they make a run.
Imagine that, a 7-9.
Crazy. Take the 2007 New York Giants. They were
Stop. Nope.
I know that's a sore spot for us Patriots fans. They were a 6th seed. As long as you make it into the tournament, you got a shot. That's how I think about it. You got a shot at winning the Super Bowl. So here's my thoughts on this game. Drew Brees is back in the playoffs, maybe for the last time.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming back next year.
Me neither. Pretty solid season, definitely on the decline. 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 106.4 rating. Here's the deal with this team. They're just better than the Bears, and I wish I had something more for you. Not your quarterback. The Bears D ranks 20th. The Bears passing defense ranks 20th overall with a weathered Brees in the playoffs. I just don't see it. Player of the game, I actually think is going to be Taysom Hill, just to, confuse this defense, because obviously this defense is solid. Their front Their front line is obviously really good, but I think Taysom Hill is going to be a really big key gadget player. As long as he continues to test negative, Alvin Kamara does plan on playing. COVID granted, COVID depending. Even with a great front for the Bears, Saints win in a blowout 27-7.
I don't know. Look, New Orleans doesn't they're a run heavy team. New Orleans passes the ball these 7th least times in the NFL per game. This is a predominantly run heavy football team because, like you said earlier,
Can I just stop you right there?
Okay.
It's a run heavy team, and who's your running back?
Alvin Kamara, sure.
The best back in the league.
Who's the defense they're facing? One of the best run defenses in the NFL. It's a solid matchup for the Bears in that regard, where their pass defense, like passes, is lacking. I'm not gonna say it's not. Okay. Facts say it is, but Drew Brees with a semi-hurt Michael Thomas and who else? Like, it's not a bad matchup for the Bears. And of course, the Saints have a fantastic run game. Dave Montgomery hasn't been able to perform well against good run defenses, but they're gonna have to make Mitch Trubisky throw the ball. So I have the Saints winning the game. I have them winning by a substantial amount. I'm just saying, don't be surprised if the Bears were to show up in this game. It's a good matchup for them. They're a hot team right now. They gave the Packers a win for their money in Week 17.
Kamara doesn't just run, though. Just about half of his fantasy points come from catching passes.
Of course.
He took a serious production hit when Drew Brees broke his thumb or whatever he did. And Taysom Hill didn't throw to him for whatever reason, just a different play style. I don't know. Kamara, he's an all-around just great backfield player. He can run the ball up the gut. He can catch the ball on the wing.
I know, but one player is not going to win you.
When at the end of the day, it just comes down to the Saints are just that much better.
But one running back's not going to win you a football game. Alvin Kamara is not the best running back in the NFL.
Okay.
First, I want to preface it with that. He's maybe third. He's not the best running back in the NFL. So, one running back of his caliber is not going to win you a football game. If you want to argue to me that they're a solid offensive line and they're solid defense, fine. But
the best running back in the NFL didn't rush for 6 touchdowns in one game.
Yeah, one game. Okay, then I don't know. Tom Brady threw 5 touchdowns 8 years ago. Like, I can pull up stats too.
That was this year, though.
It's one game. It is against a bad run defense. Now he faces a good
run defense. He was consistently good over the season.
No, I actually disagree with that. What happened when Taysom Hill was at quarterback?
Yeah, but that's not his fault.
Okay, but that there was a reason for that.
So, okay, that's fine. So he wasn't consistently good then.
But it has nothing to do with his production. It has to be, and when he was good, he was a Drew Brees, and Drew Brees.
Okay, I definitely see what you mean. But I that wasn't exactly his fault. And who's starting this game? It's going to be Drew Brees.
I understand that.
Mike,
I'm just
because we're kind of going back and forth, and I see what you're saying. What's your score prediction? Because I want to just kind of talk about.
My score prediction is, I'll say 28-24 Saints win.
Wow. That is a close game.
No, it's not. It's not. It's the playoffs. Mike, remember that. It's a playoffs.
Mike, you just said that the Saints were going to win pretty substantially. Wow. 28-24 does not sound
solid. It's more than a field goal. I don't know.
I don't know. That doesn't sound pretty.
I don't see the Saints running. It's a playoff game. Like, you don't win by 14, 17 points in a playoff.
You win by playoff experience and having better skill.
Really? You want to go by playoff experience? What have been the last 3 finishes for the Saints? Minneapolis Miracle, pass interference, loss to the Vikings 7 seed.
Okay, but how does that have anything to do with their skill, though? That's just 3 bad calls.
You just brought up their experience. Their experience sucks because they apparently blow it every single year.
Hold on, but 2 out
of. But
it's
Mitch Trubisky. It's Drew Brees and Mitch Trubisky.
Mitch Trubisky went 12-4 2 years ago and won the Pro Bowl. They're 6-1.
Mitch Trubisky's never been in the playoffs.
They're 6. Yeah, yes. They're 6-1. They're 6-1 when he's the starting quarterback.
Mike,
they lost all the games.
I'm just trying to clarify, Mike. Are you claiming that Mitch Trubisky can make a splash?
No, I'm saying, oh my God, I think the Saints are winning. I just gave you my score prediction. They're going to win by a field goal or more. I just don't think that you guys give enough credit to the Chicago team, who has the 5th ranked offense over the last 4 weeks, and we all know how good Chicago's defense can be. And it's a great matchup against a team which is run heavy. When you have a good run defense, and their only weakness is their pass defense, well, the Saints are going to come out, slinging the ball.
What about Pat Steelers playoffs a couple of years ago? I think it might have been.
I remember that.
It was
what about it?
AFC Championship.
AFC Championship.
The Steelers were supposed to be really, really good that season. They were supposed to make it farther into the playoffs. Unfortunately, they ran into the Patriots, but we still kicked their ass. Like, It wasn't a close game.
I think we won by at least 20 points. So, I mean,
like, what am I supposed to do with that?
It's a bad comparison because it's two vet quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But you see what I'm trying to say.
No, and Will, honestly, I do see what you're trying to say because I completely agree with you. I am one of the big advocates for if a quarterback is in their first year in the playoffs, I usually shy away from him. Like right now, I don't think the reason I picked the Steelers is because I think they're the better team and because this is Baker Mayfield's first playoff experience. There are different quarterbacks in the playoffs. That's why I think Tom Brady's going to win the Super Bowl because he's just a different quarterback in the playoffs. So I completely agree with you. But here's the thing, Mitch Trubisky has been here before. He was 12-4 and went to the playoffs and was a field goal away. If it wasn't for a double doink, it was a field goal away from making it to the second round and possibly even further than that because people forget how good of a team and how great of a defense that was. I mean, they went 12-4 for a reason. So he's been here before. He knows how to win these games. And if it wasn't for a awful mix-up on the special teams, he might have been a lot better.
Look, my one last point with this game is I just have an issue with the Bears. For whatever reason, whenever I turn the Bears on and I'm watching the Bears, it comes down to regular season. This was maybe 4 years ago. It's just a very specific memory. The Bears, remember Robbie Gould?
Yeah.
Yes.
The games, they would come down and they would make it down the field and they would set up a nice field goal for Robbie Gould and he would miss it. He did that maybe 2 or 3 weeks in a row. I just have a thing against the Bears. I don't think that they can win these big, high-profile games, especially with Mitch Trubisky, who I hate even more. I don't hate him, but I have a thing against the Bears, and I have a thing against Mitch Trubisky. So that just doubles. But if you
want to bring up high-profile games, look at all the games the Saints have lost that are high-profile games in the playoffs. I mean, they've blown it 3 straight.
This is not a high-profile game.
I think
it's a playoff game. Every playoff is high-profile.
True.
Every single one.
I think we're agreeing more than
the Bears are 8-8.
The only thing we're disagreeing on is
we 100% are.
Me and Will think it's going to be a blowout, and Michael doesn't. But all around, it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be an entertaining game to watch. The disagreement definitely is there, but all around.
What are your score predictions?
Mine was 27-7.
27-7. Okay, come on, that's too much.
This team is better by like lengths.
Yeah, they are, but it's the playoffs.
We have the same reasoning, but just two different answers.
Yeah, that's pretty much where we're at right now. Well, what's your score prediction?
31-14 Saints.
Damn.
Okay.
All right. Me and Will are very confident in the Bears, but you know what? We'll see. Let's keep moving on to the Seahawks versus Rams. Boys, mind if I start this one off?
Please, Pat, please.
Of course.
Thanks, Mike. So, Seahawks Rams, I'm going to keep it really short and sweet because I'm sure you guys have a lot to say about this. The Rams defense is ranked first or close to it in pretty much almost every category. They are a ridiculous defense, arguably one of the best in the league, best of the best all around. It's just not going to be enough here. I really don't see it. The Seahawks defense, while atrocious in the first half of the season, has gotten their shit together and finished out a pretty solid second half of the year. So past defense is ranked 9th. A little concerned about the way the offense is peaking. I feel that the Seahawks offense has not been peaking in the way that I want it to. If I'm a Seahawks fan, but at the end of the day, I think it comes down to the same thing that the Saints and Bears do. The Seahawks are a better team. Simple as that. It's the Seahawks. It'll be close. Last time they played, it was close. I take Seahawks 30-27.
I agree with you that the Seahawks are a better team. However, the Seahawks historically they go into these early round playoff games and they run the score up. Both teams. It's just a crazy high scoring game every time with Russell Wilson. For whatever reason, he can sling the ball and just touchdown after touchdown in these playoff games. So I think this game's going to be closer than we all think it is. I think Jared Goff, with his strong wide receiver core, is going to be able to compete with these Seahawks.
Oh, no, they're going to keep it close, definitely.
But in the end, it's going to be a close game. I have a high-scoring game at 33-27 Seahawks.
Yeah, when I first saw this game, like literally Sunday night, like when, the playoffs have been set, I'm like, oh, Seahawks by 1 million. But then like the coming days, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh, this game's gonna be a lot closer. Like
plus Aaron Donald on the defense, they've got a good run.
Of course. But I'm a big believer in momentum and how momentum can really shift playoff games. Like that's a reason why the Ravens are becoming such a dark horse Super Bowl pick, is because they've won 5 straight, going to the playoffs as a hot football team. That's why I got the Bucks. You're probably gonna hear me say that another 8 times, but bear with me. But Rams have lost like 2 out of the last 3 games, including the Jets. And that is just take the record out of it. That is like a tough mental like toll that you have to take. Losing to the Jets. I mean, that's we saw that happen to the Browns, and then it wasn't good. So the more I think about it, the more I really want to go with the Rams. But I think at the end of the day, with a trending defense, with a team that has more momentum than the Rams and Russell Wilson, I have to pick them. So I am taking the Seahawks in this one, in a little bit more of a low-scoring game because I'm trying to give respect to the Rams defense. I'm going to take 27-21 Seahawks in this one, but I still think it'll be a lot closer than that.
Yeah, no, I think we're definitely in agreement. This game's, I think, is going to stay pretty much in gridlock till the very end.
Yeah.
I don't see, for example, I think, remember last week we were talking about the Browns versus Steelers. I think it's going to be a relatively close game, but I think the score will read different than the game played, if you know what I mean. It's going to be that I think the Steelers will only win by about 7, but they will have been ahead, I think, the entire time. Mm-hmm. I don't think this game is going to be like that. I think this game is going to be pretty gridlock. Lead. Oh, no, they have the lead. Yep. And one team's going to get the ball at the end of the game and pull out, and I think that team is going to be the Seahawks.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah. So, boys, to wrap up this podcast, we have the home team, the Washington football team, taking on Tom Brady in search of his 7th precious little babies for the Super Bowl. Bucks.
Now we were debating before this podcast, who's the underdog?
Yeah.
I think the Bucks have the lower seed, but they might just be the better team.
Right. I think, technically speaking, Bucks are the underdog just because of the seed, but no, obviously the Washington's the underdog here.
The line will speak differently.
Was that?
I mean, the line will speak differently, but Tampa Bay is favored by 7.5 in this game. You know when like Doctor Strange said there's like 10 trillion different outcomes, and there's one where they win. I think it's the same thing with the Washington team this year. I just don't see them beating this Buccaneers team because I'm like, but the defense. Well, the Bucks have a really solid defense too, and Washington has proved this year that they cannot play well against solid defenses. Don't bring up the Steelers because they had lost 6 starters that game, so don't bring them up. But I just don't see Tom Brady losing, plain and simple, especially in a game like Washington. I mean, like Washington. I just don't see him losing. That offense is too good. The reports right now are saying that Mike Evans will play.
I saw that.
I don't know how. After a non-contact hyperextension of his knee, for him playing is crazy beyond me.
I'll be honest, I don't think it's wise.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, especially when you have a game.
I really, really do. And maybe that's downplaying a team, but you have so many weapons on that offense.
Yeah.
So, that's not I don't know.
Antonio Brown finally had his breakout game.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got the Bucks winning this one by my biggest point differential. I have them winning this one 30 to 14.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Oh, but playoff games, they always run close.
Washington won 7-9.
You don't want to end up like John Wall or Klay Thompson, where you just come back too early. Hurt yourself again. But back to football. This is Tom Brady we're talking about. Plain and simple. Washington probably shouldn't have made the playoffs if it was an actual legit.
Nope, they should not have.
You know what I mean. So yeah, I've got a pretty big gap in this game. Just don't see the Washington football team being able to pull it together for this one.
Pat, I know. Oh my God, Pat has Washington, doesn't he?
No. Listen. Okay.
28-17. Tom Brady takes this one easily.
There.
Love it.
My take. Washington has one of the best defenses.
Oh no.
Washington has one of the best defenses.
No. I feel like you're leading up to taking Washington.
Relax. Just chill out, man. Washington is one of the best defenses in all football. That's obviously pretty agreed upon. But that Bucs offense is high power. They're 7th ranked overall just as an offense in general. They're 2nd in passing, 4th in receiving. Like you said, Mike Evans is projected to play. This team has so many weapons they can use. Tom Brady, 40 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Washington defense is ranked 3rd best in completions per game. Top 10 rushing yards per games allowed. It's going to be an interesting one to watch. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are larger than life. There really is no other way to say it. They're just one of those teams. The word that comes to my mind is explosive, obviously. It's going to be a close one. Washington football team shocks the world, rings it into overtime. They ring it into overtime. Coin toss. Tom Brady gets the football down the field. Buccaneers win 38-31 in overtime.
Wow. I really love how specific your score.
I think it's gonna be an overtime game.
I love that. That's a very Tom Brady-esque way to win.
Coin flip. Tom Brady gets the ball. There's no stopping Tom Brady in overtime. You got one. All you need to do is score a touchdown down the field. Game over.
I've Washington putting up 31.
Washington will shock the world that they brought him to overtime.
You see Washington putting up 31 points.
That defense, that offense. Trust me.
I mean, they will be shocking the world.
I'm not here to argue that offense is amazing because it isn't. It's like, what's an analogy I can use? It's like I guess this is the term. It's a football term. It moves the chains. It's not great.
Pat, I want to put a bet right now.
Is Bashaud Breeland still at the Washington defense?
No, he's in Kansas City now.
Who?
Bashaud Breeland.
Yeah.
So it's Josh Norman back there then.
No, he's in Carolina. No, he's in Buffalo.
Buffalo.
He was in Washington though.
Yeah.
So who's on the Washington defense? That's good.
Look.
They just mesh well together. Pat, I want to say in front of the eyes of the people, in front of the ears of the people, okay? I want to offer you a bet.
Oh, okay, Mr. Mike.
I want to offer you a whopping $15 bet.
Venmo, I assume.
Yes. If Washington puts up less than 25 points, I get $15. Washington puts up more, you get $15. Does that sound like a good bet, my friend? All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm willing to take that bet. I'm down.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is unplanned. This just got so much more interesting.
Oh, man. What am I going to spend my money on?
Yeah. Stay tuned for that. Definitely. We'll keep you updated on our little Venmo transaction. We'll probably be posting something on the Instagram about that.
Oh, yeah.
We got an interesting 3 games coming up. Look, just to wrap up, guys, this is going to be a really exciting weekend of football. We talked about the AFC. Going to be really exciting, really close. And even in the NFC too, definitely when it comes to the Saints and Bears, Seahawks and Rams, we're pretty much in agreement that there is a clear better team. At the end, you guys, we've all been unanimous in this podcast, but for different reasons and in different ways. I think Washington's going to keep it close. You guys may not. I got an overtime, but all I know is that was a pretty damn good podcast, boys. Ladies and gentlemen, this wraps up episode 54. Shout out everybody watching. Episode 54 of the 401 podcast. I'm Pat Daly signing off.
Michael Quattromani signing off.
And Will Casey signing off.
This is the 401 podcast, and we will see you next time.
Woo! Less than a minute to go. Good work.
Michael,
that was